Hey chickens, I got a Christmas tree. So I'm gonna put on my best holiday sweater and worst wrapping paper pants and decorate it.
Let's get right into it. So the first decision that I made was to not spend $40 on a new tree skirt because I don't own one. Instead, I'm using this red material that I found at a thrift store for $5. And we're going to do a little snippy snip, which is a very technical maneuver. If you have a lace fetish, please look away right now. We're going to take this lace that I thrifted for $1 and we're going to snip off the hideous blue trim that it has. Got to make your rip face. Rrr. I told you it was going to be a little gruesome. I didn't even finish that lace edge, I just shoved it under a tree. For the next part, you're going to put everything under the tree and then fiddle with it until you don't hate it anymore. If you're like me, this amount of fiddling makes you feel the urge for violence, so get ready for a really dangerous stunt in just a few seconds. I told you it was dangerous. I did a couple of test snips, and now I'm going to snip off some of the bottom branches, mostly to make room for cats, but partially for any potential future creative endeavors. Just snip them right off. Now take what's yours, and apologize to no one. If your natural tree is naturally lacking in sparkles, just add some sparkles with some Christmas lights. You may get angry, confused, frustrated when you can't figure out how to unroll them, but don't worry, you probably plugged everything into everything else. The best advice I ever received was, always test your Christmas lights. So I plug them in, decide that they work, and then I start hugging my tree. The hug for the tree is going to reassure it and soothe it long enough for you to get that first little bind to keep it from moving. Once you get that first tight bind, you can comfortably get distracted by the newspaper that you rolled your Christmas lights up in. I got really excited and started to read the newspaper as if I can't just get a newspaper at any time.
It says, enthusiasts gather for the love of dogs.
What?
The Keepers investigates murder of Baltimore nun. Oh, there's bunnies! It's a Sunday paper! It's Batman and Robin, and Batman says, the bat room isn't specific enough, but the bat bathroom sounds dumb.
Oh my god. It's actually kind of good.
An undone crossword and Sudoku? Oh, score!
Once you stop being ridiculous, you can continue binding your tree so that it can't move around the house while you're asleep like some sort of Doctor Who angel that moves whenever you blink or don't look at it. Now it will be safe in the corner forever.
Oh, you know how this is a real tree?
Yeah.
I found a leaf. It's gonna stay there.
Is that nature? Get that out of here.
Remember when you were a kid and you would put your feet in the stockings and it was a hilarious joke? Well, it's less funny when your feet completely fit in the stockings. They are glamorous, though. Ooh. I like to remind myself that I'm an adult and I can make as big a mess as I want. And then I remember that I'm an adult and I have to clean up my own messes. When I was little, my sister wouldn't let us put tinsel on the tree because she said it was tacky and all the ornaments had to be spaced evenly. To that I say, put 'em wherever. Who really cares? Now you get to see my cat coming in way past curfew and then acting as if she hasn't done anything wrong. No TV for you tonight, little missy. So after I let my cat in, I just went back to whatever I was doing. Oh yeah, I was just putting ornaments wherever because it doesn't matter. So I do want to say that I've had all of these ornaments for about 5 years or more, and I don't buy new ornaments anymore just because I don't want to be responsible for that sort of plastic production. I might thrift them or even make them, but I don't want to contribute to anything unnecessary. Speaking of unnecessary, get ready for the biggest fight in history.
You want to know another reason it's a coniferous tree?
Why?
Because it's got pine cones. And you know what pine cones attract? Squirrels.
That doesn't make it a coniferous tree.
Look, this squirrel is attracted to the pine cones.
Oh, that's science.
It is science. It's how science works.
That's how science works.
I'm on medium authority that. Look, this
Medium
squirrel is
authority.
holding a pine cone.
That doesn't prove anything.
This one's holding a pine cone too. I don't need any Christmas deniers in my house, okay? You know another reason why it's a coniferous tree?
Why?
Because it's got pine cones in it.
That's the same
And the
reason.
pine cones attract squirrels.
That's the same reason.
And the squirrels always have nuts, so you need a nutcracker. Because you need a nutcracker. Because you need a nutcracker, Jeff. Because you need a nutcracker, Jeff.
Why?
Because the squirrels have nuts.
Really? I thought they had pine cones.
They do, but it's squirrels. There's always nuts around. And so they need a nut. Well, they don't need the nutcracker. You know who needs the nutcracker?
Who?
The birds.
What?
Birds can't crack their own nuts, Jeff.
Crows will drop them in the street.
Yeah,
Cars
exactly.
run over 'em.
Exactly.
They
They
don't
need
need
nutcrackers.
They-
So they need somebody to crack their nuts for them.
Cars. That's why we drive cars.
There are no cars allowed in the living room, Jeff.
Why are there birds cracking nuts in our... You know what? No.
Because
no,
there's a
no.
coniferous tree. This is why you don't help decorate. You don't understand the complex, ecological balance of Christmas.
Now that I've won that argument through facts and science, I'd like to show you some of my favorite Christmas ornaments. Just kidding, it's just one. I only remembered to show you one. So, my very best friend, who now lives 2 states away, once gave me a Christmas ornament when we were living together, and she made it ride on this moose. And now that I don't get to see her all the time, I like to have it on my tree so that I can remember the good times that we used to have together. When I was in middle school, my sister and I attended a Presbyterian church that did a live nativity every year, and I used to have a ton of fun hanging out in the church basement, drinking punch and eating cookies, and then going and standing out in the cold for half an hour dressed up like a shepherd. It was a ton of fun, and I highly recommend if you have one in your area, try and get involved. I also really like Christmas because it reminds me of how much my dad loved Christmas. And he would always sing along to the Christmas songs on the radio, and he had a great singing voice, and I always used to say that my dad had music in him, because if a song came on that he really liked, he'd look around and his eyes would light up, and he'd always try and draw the people in around him into the fun that he was having. So whatever this season means to you, I hope that you can look back on this past year and see how much you've improved and how much you've accomplished. In the meantime, here's another Christmas fact that's backed up by science and is not inaccurate at all, no matter what Jeff has to say about it.
Poinsettias are the natural enemy of mistletoe, which is actually poisonous to trees.